An investor is looking for, do you understand the problem that is available, that is there in the market? How is what solution are you providing to the market? What is your traction? What have you done so far to show me that you're able to solve this problem properly in the market? Either the produce is the problem, maybe people don't want your product, or maybe you are the problem, So the biggest thing that investors look for is a track record.
Is it possible to have a great product and not investable? And you've tackled it so well, because you've mentioned that you need to have a good track record. So it's very, very possible to have a great product and not have a good track record, right?
And in fact, I'll tell you, the biggest issue that funders face is not we have too many businesses that we need to fund. It is we do not have enough quality businesses that we can fund. That is their biggest problem. We do not have enough quality businesses that we can fund. In fact, they call it we have a pipeline problem. We have a quality pipeline problem.
Quality pipeline problem. Many agri-food SMEs believe that access to finance is their biggest challenge. But is funding really the problem, or is it investment readiness? Welcome to another exciting episode of AfriPOD, where we bring you inspiring conversations with leaders, innovators, and agri-food SMEs who are shaping Africa's food systems. I am your host, Rhoda Ayieko. At AfriFORTIFIED, we work with agri-food SMEs, women entrepreneurs, and food innovators across the country. One challenge these SMEs experience time and again is access to finance. Yet through our work, we've learned that attracting capital requires more than just a great product. It requires a business that is prepared, structured, and investment ready. Today, we talk about what investment readiness really means and how agri-food SMEs can position themselves to be investment ready. To help us unpack this important conversation, I'm delighted to welcome Doreen Zaki. And because I do not want to miss anything about her, allow me to read her bio. Doreen Zaki is a corporate finance advisor with over a decade of experience helping founders, CEOs, and management team to position their business to attract both local and international investment. She works with businesses throughout the entire investment journey, from developing compelling pitch decks and financial models to navigate due diligence, contract negotiations, and successful capital raising. Doreen, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on AfriPOD. Please, in case I've missed anything, just add to what I've already talked about.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. I believe you've captured what is important. Of course, there's many other things that have happened over the last 10 years, but yes, you've captured what is important for the purposes of this podcast.
Thank you so much for coming. Karibu sana once again. So Doreen, when entrepreneurs hear about raising capital, many immediately think of investors writing big checks. What does capital raising really means? And please let us know what are the different forms of capital that SMEs have access to today.
So when it comes to capital raising, my experience with entrepreneurs think that capital raising looks like Shark Tank, whereby you have a great idea, you focus on having a great pitch, and you go and you stand in front of people and they just say, hey, here's a $50,000 check. In real life, it actually doesn't work that way. What investors actually look for, they're not looking for someone with of course, you have to have a compelling story, but they're not looking for charisma or for, I can tell this great story to raise capital. That does happen sometimes, but the vast majority of the time, they're looking for businesses that are well-structured, have proper systems, have proper documentation, so that they can be able to verify that this, in fact, is a good investment. So, of course, the team matters. However, the systems and the structures that are in the business matter, carry the heaviest weight in terms of, do I make a decision to invest in a business? I'll give you an example. For example, if you are a founder, you are a one-man show, and you're looking to raise $10,000. The risk that I have as an investor investing in a one-man show is, what if you decide you don't want to go to work for 3 months? My $10,000 is at risk, you see, as opposed to a founder who's come up with a system whereby he has a way maybe where he is able to buy his produce and then he sells his produce, let's say using a tech platform. If a founder comes to an investor and says, I have this tech platform and I've created a system where I'm able to purchase produce, it comes on this tech platform, and then I'm able to offload this produce to clients who are able to buy from this tech platform. That poses less of a risk when you actually have systems and structures in place.
And what are the different forms of capital that is available to SMEs today?
So when I first started, because I've walked this journey for many years, I started walking this journey, I believe, in 2013. So
wow.
I've come across very many funders over the last few years. When I first started, the only funders were banks and very large private equity institutions. And so we all know how banks function. They're very risk averse in their way of lending. And at that time, 10 years ago, private equity funds were only looking to give capital to very large institutions. So they were only looking to give capital a minimum ticket size of $10 million. A ticket size is the amount of money an investor gives a business. So at that time, they were only looking at businesses that were able to absorb a $10 million ticket. However, that soon changed. Well, it didn't soon change, but after a few years, it changed. In 2018, 2019, we started seeing new investors come.
That was now 5 years later.
This is 5 years later. We started seeing new investors come into the market. We started seeing smaller size PEs. So the ticket sizes moved from $10 million to $5 million. Okay, so once they started discovering, okay, there are not very many African businesses that are able to absorb $10 million, but there are so many SMEs that have great potential, but they only require smaller amounts of money. So over the years, we've seen people who've come in with smaller ticket sizes, $3 million, they're willing to fund you $1 million. Then it's gone down $500,000, $400,000. Now we're seeing we're seeing funders who are able to fund businesses as low as $10,000. And so the question is, as an SME looking for funding rather, how do you know who is the right person to approach? Yes. So it depends on, number one, the stage that you're at. So let's start with pre-revenue. So you're an SME, you have a brilliant idea. Maybe you need an IP to improve your product or take your product to market, or maybe there's something that you need to have before you're able to go to market. There's funding for such SMEs. Pre-revenue, you haven't generated any income. The best chance you have is probably getting into what is called a venture studio or an accelerator hub where they help you build your product. So there are a few of those in the market. There are also a group of funders called angel investors. Yeah. So angel investors, angel investor is such a broad term. It can be your uncle, your dad, your mom.
Yeah, because I believe there are so many SMEs who've heard about angel investors and maybe they do not even, they just think, they do not have an idea where they can get these angel investors.
So I'll start with myself. In fact, you asked me at the beginning if there's anything I need to add. I'm actually an entrepreneur at heart. So I also, I am a serial entrepreneur. I always have ideas of businesses. I see gaps in the market and then I come up with business ideas to plug in that gap. And one of the businesses that I started in 2016, my angel investor was actually my mother and my husband.
Wow. Mothers.
Mothers and husbands. Did the venture?
Oh, and husbands.
And husband, yes, mothers and husbands. So they're the ones who initially funded that venture, which ilikunywa maji, it drank water, which means it did not succeed. But anyway, where is my mother going to take me? Okay,
I know, right?
My husband can put me away, but mothers can't put you away after, the money didn't do what it was supposed to do, but it was a learning experience for me.
At least you tried doing something.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I'd say is when you're looking for money as a young business, so I talked about people who are SMEs who are still pre-revenue. Well, they're not technically not SMEs. But they're pre-revenue, which means you've not yet generated income. And then there's a category of business owners who have started generating income. So they're trying to find their feet, but they need some funding to just accelerate that growth. Yeah, so there's funding available for those ones as well. So the different funding, the different funding categories are angel investors, and let me just say that an angel investor can be anybody. It doesn't have to be like Shark Tank type of situation where you go and pitch in front of people. That does happen in Nairobi, but very rarely, and they give money to very few businesses. So if there's 1,000 businesses pitching, it's likely that not more than 5 will get funding. So that has a very low probability of landing. What I'd say is to a small business that's looking to raise funding, who do you have within your network that you can pitch to? But even before that, and I'm sure you'll ask me this question, how do you pitch to people? What do you need to have ready before you go to someone to pitch? Because, they say that every African is one person away from poverty. Like we know someone who's, in the village or not able to. But I'd say we're also one step away from someone who is wealthy.
Exactly.
We all have a rich uncle or rich auntie.
100%.
Yeah, or we have who's within your network who can support what it is that you're doing. So even as you're thinking about funding, think outside the box. Think outside the box. So the other funders that are available are venture capital funders. So venture capital funders fund businesses that have the potential to scale. What that means is, can your business serve, so let's say your business is currently serving 10 customers. In 3 years' time, can your business serve 10,000 customers? So the potential does your business have potential to scale is a strong pull for a venture capital funder. Yeah. And you don't have to be profitable. So some businesses think that, my business is not making profit. I can't raise funding. That's actually not true. In fact, a lot of funding that has been raised, I think Kenya has raised over, 300 billion, maybe not 300 million, no, over $1 billion. Let's say over $1 billion in venture capital funding over the last few years. A significant proportion of those businesses were not even profitable. Yeah. So it is not a requisite that your business need to be profitable. What is more important is that you're able to scale it. And usually tech is an enabler. So if there's a way you've incorporated tech into your business and you're able to show, I have 10 clients today, but through the enablement of tech is not a solution, it's an enabler. Okay, it's a part of the solution. It is not the solution. So if this it's part of the solution, it is not the solution. Don't say that I'm going to bring this tech product that's going to solve the problem. No. You must already have a solution. The tech only comes to enhance it. The tech only comes to enhance it, and it's very important that SMEs understand that. So if you're able to have a tech platform that enhances your solution and you're able to scale your product or your service, then you're likely to get money from a venture capital funder. Or alternatively, if your solution creates impact, are you helping farmers across sub-Saharan Africa? Are you helping the youth be able to secure more jobs? Are you helping? Is there gender equity? Are you helping females? Are you helping females get access to capital through your business? So there are many other ways that you can raise capital through impact funders.
Wow. That I love the answer, and maybe that takes me to the next question. Why do you think so many SMEs, if not all, struggle to raise capital? Do you think it's really lack of funding, or is it that they are not ready for the funding?
I think that's a good question. And the answer is simple. It's lack of knowledge. The world that we live in, the world of capital, the world of angel investors, impact funding, venture capital, private equity, it's a very niche world. It's a very small space. So very few people know about how it works. Yeah. In SMEs defense, because we know about banks, we understand what banks typically look for. They look for security. You need to have a title deed, or if it's a car loan, you need to have some form of asset, or if it's an unsecured loan, you need to have 6 months worth of bank statements showing that you have sufficient cash flows to pay the loan. But when it comes to these other funders, there's not a lot of information that's out in the market. And I'll tell you why. A venture capital, a private equity fund is not allowed to advertise by law. They're like a legal firm. You're not allowed to advertise by law.
Oh, okay.
So the way the market dynamic is, you have a group of people that are looking for this funding. You have a group of people that are willing to give this funding, but they're not able to talk to each other. They're not able to talk to each other. And I'll talk about a solution that I'm looking to provide to bridge that gap so that funders are able now to access quality SMEs. So that's the situation. And then the other thing, they don't know each other. furthermore, they don't know what it is that they look for. So, for example, you can tell someone, a funder can come to a business and say, can you send me your pitch deck? Tell me about your business. So if you don't know what the investor is looking for, you might just send what is called a company profile. This is what I do. These are my products. These are my services. This is my team. This is my costing. This is my price. Yeah. That is not a pitch deck.
And this is what I need.
This is what I need. Exactly. That is not a pitch deck. An investor isn't looking for that. An investor is looking for, do you understand the problem that is available, that is there in the market? How is what solution are you providing to the market? What is your traction? What have you done so far to show me that you're able to solve this problem properly in the market? Do you understand your total addressable? So they'll ask you questions that you might not have ever even thought about. There are things called TAM, SAM, and SOM. Yeah. Total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, serviceable obtainable market. You as an entrepreneur, you're thinking, what are all these things? Yeah. But that's what the investor is interested in. This solution that you're providing, what is the size of the market? Because they want to know, can you scale? Why are they asking that question? They want to know, can you scale this business? Is there a large market available for you to scale? Yeah. They want to understand about your competition. Who else is doing what you're doing? Yeah. Huh? And what are the barriers?
Because why would I come to you and leave your competitors?
Exactly. Are your competitors doing a better job than you are? Yeah. Or what is it that you're doing that's different to your competitors? So those are the type of questions that they'll ask. And so if your pitch deck does it, and there are many other, questions, there are many other things that need to go into a pitch deck. And so if you don't know how to pitch, then you're automatically disqualified. It's like a golfer. It's like going to play golf. You know that you're supposed to hit the ball, in this direction, but you have no skill. You don't know which club to use. Okay, I'm not a golfer. I don't even know why I've used this example.
I thought you were.
I'm not. It's a terrible example. But if you ask me to hit this golf ball into this particular hole, I'll just go pick whatever stick there is in the, in the golf bag, and you hit it. But there's a skill set that's behind it. You use a particular stick. So that's how it is in funding. Yeah, you don't just go and try and, chances are you're going to miss. It's more important that you position yourself well. Okay. Yeah. If you position yourself well, it doesn't mean that you'll necessarily get the funding, but it means that you're in a higher position you have a higher probability of securing that funding.
Wow. Doreen, if an agri-food SME was to raise capital in the next 1 year, what would you advise them to start doing now?
Okay. The first thing is to understand the state of their business. A lot of businesses, and I'll explain what that means. A lot of business owners don't really understand the state of their business. It means, what does that mean? It means, do you understand, number one, where you're going? How are you different from other players in the market? Because the first thing is, before you articulate it to other potential funders, you need to articulate it to yourself. You need to understand, okay, so let's say I have a value-add product. I know we talked about millet at the beginning. You want to put out a millet bar, into the market. The first thing is, who else is producing similar things in the market? Yeah. What is my route to the market? How am I going to grow? How am I going to source these goods? And then the next step is, do I understand my numbers? And that's very important. A lot of SMEs don't really understand their numbers. What does that mean? To produce 1 unit of this millet bar, right? How much does it cost me to produce one unit? You must understand your numbers to that level of detail. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, if I buy enough produce to produce 10 bars, what is the cost? Yeah. If I buy enough produce to produce 100 bars, what is the cost? So your unit cost typically should go down with larger quantities.
Economies of scale.
Economies of scale. You need to understand those numbers. Okay, so if I'm only purchasing produce worth 10 units, how much do I need to sell that for me to generate a profit? Those are the kind of things that you need to understand your business. Before you go out to a funder saying, I need 10 million shillings or whatever that number is, you need to understand your business. What is the unit economics? So by the time a funder is coming to ask you, what are your margins? What are your unit margins? A lot of people don't even know what that means. What's your EBITDA margin? People like EBIT, what?
What is that?
What is EBITDA? There's some certain numbers that you need to know. There's some certain numbers that you need to understand, because the funder what they care about is, do you understand is your business profitable? Especially in the agri space, it's very possible to churn a lot of money. You're churning cash every day, buying, selling, but you might not actually be profitable. And the thing is, in the agri sector, depending on where you are, the margins can be very lean or they can be healthy. Of course, the higher up the value chain you are, the margins tend to be healthier. But let's say you're selling tomatoes, for instance, you're competing with very many other vendors in the market, and so it's likely that your margins will be very thin. Your profit margins will be very thin. So in such a business, it's very important to record all your costs, because now that fuel prices have gone up, now that the Strait of Hormuz is whatever is happening there, now it's affecting your business. You had no business with Trump and Iran, but now it's affecting your business. And so you might find that, actually, this cost that I was selling my tomatoes at no longer makes sense because it's no longer profitable. So the first thing that you need to do is understand, where exactly is my business? Okay. And then understand, if I borrow, take that number to be as small as possible. If I take 10,000 shillings, how can I ensure that if I bring 10,000 shillings into this business, it's able to generate 20,000 shillings? That is very important. It is a way of thinking. It's not just about, I need, so a lot of businesses, sometimes you raise capital because you can't pay rent, or you can't pay salaries, or you have so much pressure, or the bank is on your neck. So you're like, oh my gosh, I need 5 million shillings. I need 5 million shillings. Capital should be a multiplier. Let me repeat that.
Wow.
Capital should be a multiplier.
Wow.
If the capital isn't coming to multiply, do not take it.
Oh, okay.
Do not take it.
All right.
The capital is not coming to multiply. It's just coming to plug in a gap. Okay, so once you plug in that 5 million shillings gap that you have, and you're not multiplying it, you will now have the 5 million shilling gap is still there. You've just transferred it. Right?
I get you.
You've just transferred it to someone else. And now this person is going to be on your neck asking you for, where's my 5 million shillings? Money should be used to multiply what it is that you're already doing.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. Please remember, capital should be a multiplier. Yes. Says Doreen. So suppose you're sitting from across an investor. What are the very first things investors look for? And you see, most of the times we say you just need to have a good product. Do you think investors invest in a product or they invest in a person?
So the right answer is most investors invest in a track record.
Oh, okay. Neither.
No. It's both. Okay. And I'll explain why. It's that plus many other things.
Oh, yes.
They invest in a track record, right? So if you are a person who's been able to build a business from 1,000 shillings and now it's 10 million shillings, it means that you have a track record.
Yes.
Yeah? Number one, you have a track record. You've been able to take a business from 1,000 shillings to 10 million shillings. So if you go to an investor and you say, look, I took this business from 10,000 shillings, it's now 10 million shillings. I can take this business from 10 million shillings to 100 million shillings. So you have credibility. It's your track record. And then also it is the produce. The fact that you've gone from 10,000 shillings to 10 million shillings, people aren't going to buy produce that's not good quality. Why would you go and keep on buying the same thing and it's not delivering whatever it is that you're hoping it's going to deliver? So the track record already shows that you have a good produce. Now the thing is, if you don't have a track record, how does the investor know that? So the investor will have two questions if you don't have a track record. Number one, either the produce is the problem. Maybe people don't want your product. Or maybe you are the problem. So the biggest thing that investors look for is a track record. And so for every SME that's looking to grow their business, the best thing they need to do is have a good track record. So whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a product or a service, do it well. Do it well. Build your clientele. Be people of integrity. If you're going to say that you're going to deliver on a certain day, at a certain time, just deliver on that day. Don't take people's money and then not deliver. And then
you go missing.
You go missing. And be consistent in your delivery, especially in agri, in the agri market. It's a good business because it's a repeat business. It's not like you're selling a phone and then I won't need a phone for another 3-4 years' time. An agri product is something that someone will purchase regularly. And, the thing is, you're in such a good position for funders because the other thing funders like, this other key term that they like, is something called MRR. MRR is monthly recurring revenue. Funders love that. If you have a product that people buy every single month, they love that. So in the agri space, you already tick that box. Can people buy my product every single month? So for you in the agri field, you need to ensure that you're consistently delivering a good produce or a good service, and you do it well, and you do it at the right price.
Yeah. I think my next question, you've already answered it. I wanted to ask, is it possible to have a great product and not investable? And you've tackled it so well, because you've mentioned that you need to have a good track record. So it's very, very possible to have a great product and not have a good track record, right?
It's possible. Yeah. So, but if you don't, how can it be a great product if it doesn't have a track record? So a product is many things. A product is the item itself. A product is, does it answer the problem that the market has? Are you solving a market problem? Okay. You might have a good product, but it's not solving a market problem because it's too highly priced. The price is outside of the market. And so it might be a good product, but the market can't afford it. So is it a good product? A good product is one that solves my problems. Yeah? If you're able to provide a solution that solves my problem, that is a good product.
Yeah, and that reminds me, there's a story. I don't know if you've heard of the story. There's a story that we were told a while back, that an organization went to, I think it was one of the Asal regions. I think it was Turkana or somewhere. So they realized that women in that region could go up to 10 kilometers to fetch water. You've heard of that story?
Yes, I know this story. Yes.
Yeah, so they decided, they didn't even involve the women. So they decided, we'll do what? We'll do a borehole for these women to get water. And then after they did that, they mobilized funds and did that. Surprisingly, the women were still going 10 kilometers to get water. Meaning they didn't really get to know what the problem was in that specific space, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love that story because you're building a solution based on what you think the problem is. You think the problem is, oh my gosh, these women are walking 10 kilometers. Let me help them not walk. What they didn't actually understand, that the 10 kilometers was already a solution.
Yeah.
The 10 kilometers was a solution for women who wanted to leave their homes, take a break from their husbands and their children.
And just go and shene. We call it shene.
Exactly. Go and gossip and go and, release their stresses. So it was actually, you can call it a mental wellness solution that 10 kilometers was providing.
Therapy.
It was therapy.
It was therapy.
So now you're actually taking away their therapy. Yeah. So the thing is, back to your question, is the borehole a good product?
Yeah.
Was it a good product?
It was.
Okay. But was it solving the problem?
No, it was a great product, but it was not solving the women's problem.
It was not solving the problem.
Yeah.
So if it's not solving the problem, is it a great product?
I doubt.
Food for thought. We can leave your audience to think about that.
I think you guys need to think about it as well.
Yeah, a good product solves the problem.
Okay.
A good product solves the problem.
I'm learning, Doreen. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are the investment trends, the current investment trends in the agri-food sector? As are things to do with maybe circularity, value addition?
Okay.
Let's just elaborate a bit.
So in the agri space, I have good news for you. There's actually quite a lot of funding that has come into the agri space. So the agri space, you can get funding from a wide variety of funders. There are impact venture funds, there are private equity funds, there are debt funds, there are grants available for
blended
SMEs,
financing.
Blended financing. We're seeing even those in the traditional sector, more banks are trying to push more produce towards people in the agri, SMEs in the agri space. So there's a lot of funding. I'd say if you look at the different sectors where there's funding, I'd say the agri space has the lion's share. Yeah, the agri space and the climate space has the lion's share of funding that is available in the market. And so the different funding that is available is for, let's say you have an agri product that has capacity to scale, There are very many impact funds, impact venture capital funds, impact private equity funds that are looking to fund you. They can give you equity, which means they take shares in your business, or they can give you debt, which means that you have to pay them back their money. They can give you debt at concessional rates. Concessional rates means that you don't have to pay the high interest rates that you'd get from a bank. So if a bank is offering you a loan at 18%, you can have funds that will be able to offer you loans at 8% or 9% on the Kenya shilling, as long as you're within the agri space. However, you need to be able, like I said, to understand your numbers. Is your business profitable? What does your growth look like? So there's impact fund. If you're able to show that you're able to scale, there's money for that. If you're just looking to, expand your operations, maybe you're based in Nairobi, you want to move to Kisumu or Mombasa or Tanzania or Uganda, it's time for you to expand your business. There's funding available for that. As long as you're able, like I said, as long as you're able to demonstrate to a funder that you have a good track record. Track record is very important.
That has remained here.
Yes, and let that remain with the SMEs who are watching this. So the primary thing is fine. If you're looking for funding, please keep at it, or maybe look for me. I can help you.
please look for Doreen.
But what's more important than that is if you're focusing on building a business, just focus on how can I improve my track record. And that should be like a constant thought in your mind. How do I improve my track record? How can I improve my track record? Because if you come to me with a good track record, it is much easier for me to raise funding for you because I know exactly where to go. And in fact, I'll tell you the biggest issue that funders face is not we have too many businesses that we need to fund. It is we do not have enough quality businesses that we can fund. That is their biggest problem. We do not have enough quality businesses that we can fund. In fact, they call it, we have a pipeline problem. Yeah, we have a quality pipeline problem. Yeah, we don't have quality businesses that we can invest in.
So I think as SMEs, we need to do better. We really need to do better to make our business quality to be investable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at AfriFORTIFIED, we support SMEs in strengthening their business and just build their capacity. Do you think such support would make our SMEs more attractive to investors?
Absolutely. Okay. In fact, I said the primary gap with SMEs looking for funding is knowledge. At the beginning,
yes,
the biggest gap is knowledge. So, in fact, what I always tell the SMEs, even before looking for funding, get the knowledge. So number one, before you go to a funder and start pitching your business, ensure that your business is fundable. Is your business fundable? So what you're offering is, how do I improve your business systems and structures to increase your chances of getting funding from an investor? So that's what you're offering the SMEs, right?
Yes.
How do we help improve your systems and structures so that you can get funding? Because I'm not able to help you get funding if you don't have proper systems and structures. There's nothing I can do. Even though these people are my friends, some of these funders, but I can sing, I can cry, I can roll on the floor. They will not give you any money. You must have proper systems and structures. And so if you're able to create an enabling environment where businesses are able to learn how to improve their systems, how to improve their structures, how do I hire the right people, how do I improve my produce, how do I get access to market, how do I improve my margins, how do I understand my margins, how do I record my numbers, if you're able to help businesses improve their knowledge on those things, and they're able to build stronger businesses, then you improve the quality pipeline that funders are looking for.
So maybe this is one of the last questions. If you had 100 million Kenya shillings, which type of agri-food business would catch your attention and why?
That's a very easy question. And I've mentioned it 3 times. One that has a good track record.
That's one.
Someone that has a good, strong track record. A strong track record means that you understand your market. Yeah. The fact that people keep on coming back to you means you have a good produce, means you've understood your market, means you've understood what they want, and you've understood what price they're willing to buy it at. And so if you have already been able to find 3,000 people who are able to buy your produce, I will put money in your business, because if 3,000 people are willing to buy your produce, it means 30,000 people will be willing to buy your produce. And if people in Kenya are willing to buy your produce, it means people in Uganda, Tanzania, Kigali, Ethiopia might be willing to buy your produce. And so you become very investable.
Thank you very much, Doreen. You are surely a powerhouse. I've enjoyed having this conversation with you. And maybe to those watching us, some of them, or not even a small number, I know a very big number, would want to connect with you. Where do they find Doreen? How do they connect with you?
Okay. So there are 2 ways you can connect with me. The first place is LinkedIn. Doreen Zaki, you can search for me, Doreen Zaki on LinkedIn. You can see my face on LinkedIn and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. The second way is if you're curious as to who can fund your business, you can log into a platform called Clink Africa. That's CLINQ.Africa. And that platform will allow you to see who's the best person to fund your business. And more importantly, whether your business is ready for funding. So it's a platform that looks at the documents that you have available, that looks at where your business is, and then we'll be able to tell you, yes, you're ready for funding, or if you're not ready for funding, these are the things that you need to do to ensure that you're able to get funding going forward. So that's clink.Africa, CLINQ.Africa.
Africa. I think we'll be able to put the name of the platform on our videos so that all the other people who are interested in connecting could probably connect. So, Doreen, it was a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you very much for honoring the invite. Dear viewers, thank you so much. I hope this conversation helps. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
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 I also say bye.
Yes.